Welcome back to the Clerc podcast show. This episode brought to you by Frozen Bottled Water.
I said, who brings a frozen bottle of water?
Yeah, well, I found it. It's not going to do me too good until probably the end of the podcast, so we'll see how that goes. On this week's episode, we have Damon Weinandt here. Thank you very much for joining, Damon.
Thank you, Ethan.
As usual, good to have
you.
you.
Be here.
Across from me, this is a weird guy to see, isn't it?
Yeah. What's his name
It's
again?
been a while.
It's been a while. What was the last episode you were on, sir?
Can't remember.
I'll say road trips again. I said it last time.
I think it was road trips, yeah.
It's been like 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. Colin Clare, my brother, great to have you back on the podcast.
Might be my
Claim him.
24th episode, maybe
Claim him
25th.
as your brother.
It's a conspiracy theory. We'll never know.
Yeah. No one
Across
can
the
go back and
table
check
from
that.
me, a great guy, I'd like to say. I don't know what else to say about him. I'm kidding. Trent Lacanne, everybody.
Local
Pleasure
legend.
to be here. Yeah, local legend. Pleasure to be here.
Good to have you. Where are you? What are you doing nowadays, Trent? For people that don't know you,
I'm just living life, hanging out, enjoying it, working all summer.
Going to
every
college,
day.
right?
Yeah.
Going
Doing
to college.
legend stuff, doing legendary
Yeah, just
stuff.
doing local legend stuff, the typical
Local legend
everyday
stuff.
type of thing.
Understandable for a guy like you.
Exactly.
Tell people what you're up to. You're going to college. Where are you
Yeah,
going?
I'm going to college, going to SDSU. Been going there for 2 years. It's going to be my junior year.
Is that in South Dakota?
Yes, it is.
You still
Crazy, though. Crazy to think about, but yeah, it is.
you still doing drugs?
Yeah.
Like pharmacy?
Big
I
in
mean,
the-
pharmaceuticals?
Yeah, well, I was a bartender, so I thought I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to add drugs to my resume, so I thought I'd be a pharmacist.
Of course, yeah. I mean, if you can sell alcohol, you can sell pills.
Hand in
Right,
hand.
get the whole shebang going there.
Exactly. Well, that goes great into the topic tonight. We're talking about faking the moon landing. I know you're a specialist. On moon
something
landing,
like that.
moon
We'll
landing
see. We'll
conspiracies.
see.
How does
We'll find
how
out.
does drugs and alcohol go to the
He
moon
took a
landing?
class for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I took
he
a
was
moon
a
landing
moon
conspiracy
landing
class.
conspiracy
wow.
class.
Sounds like something they'd have down there at SDSU.
Yes.
Right next to the
Spaced
open.
out.
Before we get into anything, though, we should probably talk about the hype from everything that happened last week on the podcast, because we talked about the Wilder demon, and people took the our basic investigation, I'd like to
And
call
ran
it,
with it.
and ran with it. Like, people are really interested. Colin, you had some stuff pulled up. If you want to talk about that a
Well,
little
just
bit.
like, I don't know, 40 minutes before the podcast, I was getting some notifications on Facebook. Some lady said she was talking to one of her friends and asking him if he remembers when she was coming back from work and she saw some Jeepers Creepers looking
Ooh.
thing.
The creeper.
The creeper.
And then the guy was saying that he saw the same thing on 2 separate occurrences.
It's always
Really?
good to see a lifetime
So
conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're just talking back and forth, and it got to the point where they want to go out there, camp, and investigate. So
Which always get permission. We don't want to rush people
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
to go.
yeah, for
We
sure.
had a lot of people
And-
on Facebook talking about going out on property and stuff, and there was other people saying, "Don't come
Not
on my
encouraging
land."
that, yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not. In no way, shape, or form are we encouraging anyone to go trespass.
I
on
mean,
anyone's
Ethan,
land.
where you and Mason saw it, though, that was that's public property. That was
it's a
right
highway.
Yeah, it was right on the right on the
Yeah,
highway.
yeah. I mean, if you want to
So
go up and down, drive down the highway back and
walk
forth.
the ditch.
Going the speed limit.
Yeah, or I mean, there might be some, I don't know, public land. I don't know what's public land and what's
Okay.
private.
No.
Like,
Yeah, but so as someone who has no idea what you guys are talking about,
Oh,
like,
sure.
okay, what's the Wilder demon?
oh my gosh, we gotta get back.
Just
to
someone
might-
who has
you
like,
might have to
I'll,
watch
summarize.
no idea.
I'll give you the cliff
Okay,
notes of it. Okay,
okay.
so pretty much me and Mason are coming back from Worthington, and something was flying above my car, and it flew down, and I ran it over. It was huge. Bigger than an eagle, bigger than any other bird we've ever seen. Like, I don't even know if it was a bird or not. But
Like,
it
was there any damage on your
Mason
car?
said
yeah,
3
it
times the
lifted.
size.
He said 3 times the size of an eagle. Yeah, it lifted my car off the ground, ripped my bumper off, it dented my car, and there was hair jammed in like the cracks or whatever. And I still have the hair, and we had it last week on the podcast.
Your dad's probably had this as a secret file somewhere in the house.
Yeah,
They go,
your dad's
look
gonna
in the
investigate it.
way
Yeah.
bottom of the closet.
I wouldn't know. He wouldn't tell me.
No.
He doesn't tell me that kind
Too
of stuff.
classified.
And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we get this hair, and the hair does not look like any other hair we've ever seen before. It doesn't look like, it's obviously not feathers. It's hair, but it doesn't look like dog hair. It's not like your regular.
Scrapped up fuzz.
It looks
hair,
like beard fuzz, like
4 different animals put together.
it's really strange. And we compared it to other animal hair. Like, we had other animal hair pictures up, and we tried comparing it to, and nothing was even close.
You know,
so,
in the-
like, is it like long or is it? Like,
It's-
what's
your
the-
video showed long hair. This was kind of curled up and fuzzy.
Mason had a big piece,
Had a
but
big
what it
piece.
is like, you stretch it out, and it just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Okay, so
like
it's really like condensed, like.
yeah,
really,
condensed,
curled
and it's
up?
like elasticy. Like, you can stretch it out, and it'll. What hair does that?
Okay.
Well, in theories too, it could have the demon could have been going after whatever you hit too. I mean, you never know if you
I
hit
have
the demon.
no
we
idea.
We don't know yet.
Anyway, so after we hit the thing, I thought, my car was done for. So I
didn't have
pulled.
demon insurance.
I pulled over, and there was nothing on the road, nothing in the ditch. We didn't see anything.
But to clarify, you saw something go up in the air, just fly, like bigger than an eagle.
Above my car.
Above your
Before
car.
I hit it.
Before
I
you
saw
hit
it.
it.
I saw it, and I said something to Mason, and then I looked away for a second. I looked back, and that's when it flew underneath my car. So it was one of those things that happened so quick, and and then we kind of like shrugged it off for a while. But then I told a couple people, and other people had similar stories that happened to them by Wilder.
Yeah, because this happened to you back in February of 18.
This is last year, yeah.
So
And so we've
wasn't,
just
like,
been talking about
pursued.
it. And for anyone that wants to hear more information, last week's podcast, we literally talked about it for like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much a whole podcast we talked about it. We go over maps. We have like the hair. We have like all the details and like
Very detailed episode.
conspiracy theories about there's a church right around that area that got torn down back in the
Origins
90s.
theories,
And
yeah.
like it was just weird stuff.
Which we
going
found out actually got moved to Jackson, so maybe we should visit that, and,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So we want to do
Breck School.
There's a college that was in Wilder at one point, and there was
The very original Breck School. It's
there
not
was
in
a
the cities.
school there too. So there's just a bunch of weird stuff. And other people have said they saw a creature with glowing red eyes in Wilder, and
Henry Whipple, I think, was a Baptist. That picture that we put up.
he's the demon.
Put up
That's
that-
my theory.
Well, I don't know if that.
Remember Mason saw him that night?
Or he's
Yeah.
the,
On
or
the
he
way
could
home.
be the keeper because he was the. I don't want to say that about Mr.
Why
Whipple.
don't we? Why don't we?
Moral of the story, we got to go investigate.
We got to go investigate, and we're planning on doing a big episode, follow-up episode with a lot more information for people. Hopefully, get some people.
You started up a hotline.
Yeah, we
Message.
started up the Demon Hotline. I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that up, Damon. Wilder Demon Hotline. If you have any Wilder Demon stories, you can call in. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call into the Wilder Demon Hotline. The number is 507-407-0346. There is a operator on the line 24 hours a day.
Is his name Ethan Clare?
It's somebody like that. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call on in, leave us a message, and we will
Detailed message.
short detailed message with your
Story
name.
that we could maybe air.
Yeah, and we can air that for our big reunion episode for maybe the 50th, maybe the 51st.
Because you'll comb through them and just take the legit ones.
Yeah. We'll see how many good ones we get in. So that is the Wilder Demon story for you, Trent. So,
There you go.
Ethan,
Very
make sure you put that
interesting.
number on the screen.
yeah, the number will be flashing right now. If you're listening, again, 507-407-0346. Wilder Demon Hotline. Call in anytime. 24 hours a day, 7 days a
And
week.
if you're looking for a demon, stay safe because it is a demon.
Bring your demon protection kit out
Yeah.
there. Get your demon insurance. Trent Lacanne, get him out there with you.
All right,
yeah, I'll
enough,
protect you.
enough on this demon.
Yeah, we talk about the
Getting
Wilder
scared,
Demon a lot.
Colin?
I am.
This entire episode is going to be all conspiracy theories,
Oh,
which
geez.
is always, that's always fun to talk about. And it's not like we're going to piss anybody off, really, because we're talking about stuff that happened so long ago. And we're going to be talking about the Jeffrey Epstein thing, too. That's a big, but that's not going to make anybody mad because he's a bad guy anyway. So we'll start it off this week talking about, I found a video. Go to the files column. Found a video on here. It's the helicopter. I just thought this was kind of cool, honestly. It's that one right there. That camera shutter speed's the same as the helicopter. You have to hit open, right-click on it. Oh, maybe it will.
And then you
open.
have to-
Okay, there it goes. Watch this video. Just kind of neat.
There's a helicopter going up. The way the propellers are going, it just looks like it's standing still.
It's the camera. The camera shutter speed is the
Yep.
same as the
pretty cool.
propellers, whatever.
Yeah, I've actually seen this where people have done this with birds too. Like the birds are just standing still, and it's really creepy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Dang, that's crazy.
It almost looks fake.
You sure they weren't fake birds and they were robots? Someone brought that up once.
So that is just a random video. Cool video of the week, Trent.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Trying to
for
bring that in?
Really appreciate that.
No conspiracies about that video.
No, I think that's pretty kind of dry.
Brought to you by the helicopter that doesn't move.
The no move, the no what do you call those things that spin?
Rotary?
Rotor, the no
Okay,
rotors.
I didn't know what you're talking about. there.
Helicopter.
Fidget spinners.
The fidget spinners. But we're talking about flying. That could really be a good segue into going to the moon. So what's your initial thoughts when you hear going to the moon, Trent?
I think of spaceships. I don't know. The moon's made of cheese. Isn't that a conspiracy?
That's pretty far out there, yeah.
I don't think that one's
kinda-
holding up.
Luckily, the
Yeah,
Earth.
I think that one's pretty.
Luckily, the Earth is
You
flat.
can look at that one. Yeah. I don't know.
So
Yeah.
Trent thinks of spaceships and cheese.
What do you think about Damon?
I think about the tides, I guess, and like the rise and fall, the gravitational pull of the moon, and that it rotates around the Earth. The first thing I don't think of is going to the moon, even though we just talked about 50th anniversary, and that's what everybody's talking about. And
Well, when I hear
solar
going-
system stuff,
Yeah, when I hear going to the moon,
That
I
it's
think
round,
of like
not
Neil.
flat.
Yeah, I think of like Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, like the flag up on the moon, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But what if that never happened?
It did.
Huh?
It did.
Oh, it did. We're here.
I believe so.
We're here to talk about one of the biggest conspiracy theories of all time. This one's been and is still believed by millions of
It
Americans.
is pretty big. That's one of the most believed ones, I think.
I think
read
it is.
too.
And I think the biggest reason for it being so people skepticize about it so much is because why haven't we gone back since 1972? Last time was in December of 1972. We have the technology. We have the capabilities, and I feel like we have a lot more now. There's more technology. We said this before in the podcast. There's more technology now on your iPhone than there is on the spaceship that went to the moon.
Yeah.
What's NASA's answer to that question?
Wasn't it just like budget constraints? Like
Budget's
what's the
one of
reason?
them.
Like why would they
I
want
looked
to?
up the official reason according to people that worked for NASA or work for NASA now, and the official reason they give is because back in the day. They gave a huge amount of money to NASA, like $45 billion or something. It was a crazy. Or no, it was $4 billion, but in today's dollar, it would be $45 billion. They give billions of dollars though to NASA. Nowadays, apparently, the budget's way cut down from what it used to be. It's not $45 billion anymore. Obviously,
And they also say that they did keep up with that, if you want to call it agent technology now, they didn't keep up with that, so it's not even around anymore. So they'd have to start over and go back to doing it that way and almost start from square one, keep it back up.
Yeah,
So
and
more
well,
money
and there
going to
was Columbia, the spacecraft crashed in 2003 and killed all the 7 of the astronauts on board. That was a big deal. So I think they started questioning why are people risking their lives to go somewhere we already went.
Right.
And the biggest part of it was probably the space race. We were trying to beat the
Yeah.
Soviets. We were trying to beat the Soviets,
yeah.
and we were trying to get to the moon
timing.
first.
That's where a lot of interesting things go into, like stuff you can definitely prove, and like the reasons why we went to the moon, and you dive into some of these conspiracies and you learn a lot more about why we went to the moon, and it was kind of just a pissing match, like to see who could get there, and JFK promised, and they took, with the Russians, and it had to be within a certain time frame, and then you start diving deep into who was helping us build these rockets, and there was some very questionable people, like ex-Nazi rocketeers that the United States was bringing over to do it.
See,
and
you were telling me about that. I never heard that before.
yeah, that's so. There's some other good information and podcasts that you can listen to now with the 50th anniversary. But it was just like, let's get there. So one of the questions is too now, like, why isn't there any countries? The United States isn't the only country on the earth. Like, why aren't other countries? And they're going to play devil's advocate, but why aren't other countries trying to get back to the moon?
How
if
come?
it was so important back there?
How come the United
back
States
then?
is the only country who's ever gotten to the moon? We're the only country.
Because you think it'd be kind of like something you could hold over, like if you started landing on the moon, if a
for
country
sure.
started landing on the
Yeah.
moon, that's like a strategic area to hold there.
Why hasn't you think like China or Russia, one of these worldwide forces, like these big world leaders, why wouldn't they go to the moon? Like I don't, you just think they would have. Why
Well,
wouldn't they?
it's like, why would we send like a manned aircraft to the moon? Because like, why would you risk like human lives? Because I mean, we've sent like probes there, like recently, and
Yeah.
like the land crafts or whatever. So it's like, what's the point of sending like actual people there though? Like when you can like risk human lives when you can just send a probe.
Isn't the goal of the moon? I mean, I feel like nowadays the goal of sending people to the moon would be potential future planet for us to move to if things on Earth don't work out. I feel like a lot of people are talking about that.
Right, but I feel like we can like accomplish that with like probes and stuff. Like I don't think we need like an actual human being on the moon.
Yeah.
right
Well, the
now.
reason we sent actual human beings on the moon is,
say we could do it?
say we could do
Well, it
it.
was to beat the Soviets, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why there's so many conspiracy theories, because people think we made it up just so we could say to the Soviets or show them like we made it before you, even though maybe that they didn't have the technological capabilities that they said they had. And I feel like my biggest thing where I can see a conspiracy here is I'm not the guy that says we never went to the moon. I'm just saying
Right, me too.
maybe we didn't go as soon as we said we did. We made up this footage. We put together this whole thing back in 1969. Well, you got to remember the technology we had back then. And we shot this stuff and then showed the American people, calmed everybody down, and then eventually we went to the moon. But we went back in 69 a bunch of times, 70, 71, and 72. So maybe we did go within that time period, but I don't know. Like
See, and I don't want to sit here and act like we didn't go to the moon for the fact that, considered American heroes like Buzz Aldrin and other ones, Neil Armstrong, we
Yeah.
talk about, and what the Collin guy doesn't get talked about.
Michael Collins.
That was with them. But like, I don't know how you would react if you actually didn't go to the moon, or if you did, and how someone would come up to you and say, "Hey, you didn't go to the moon," Because sometimes they're like like they didn't really want to talk about it a whole
They
lot.
didn't.
Like
They didn't.
they're kind of closed off, and they
No.
say because their personalities were pretty closed off, and they're just kind of that way. And some people were very closed talking about it. Like, and if you didn't go to the moon, you want to talk about it. But if you're a closed off person and you didn't want to be humble about it, you wouldn't say anything either. So it's tough to judge off of those instances.
It
But
is, and
people
someone-
bring that up.
Someone
Well,
went
yeah.
up. So what were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, there's like I remember seeing a video. Like I was watching a video, and someone like actually confronted Buzz Aldrin.
Punched
saying,
the
Punched
dude.
him. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just about to bring
That,
that up.
that guy
Yeah.
punched. Look, yeah, he,
Yeah,
He
was
punched
bad.
him?
He punched him. He went up to him outside of some
with
like
a Bible or something.
with a
I
Bible.
think he wanted to swear on the Bible or something.
Oh yeah. He's like swear in the Bible that you went to the moon, and then Buzz Aldrin went up to him and knocked him or clocked him because I'm sure he's heard that his whole life that he never went.
Because we probably do the same if you're getting old and you get tired. If you actually went to the
Oh,
moon.
yeah.
So you can't
Yeah.
say it's because he didn't
Yeah.
go to the moon. I mean, the guy called him a coward too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's his life's work. Too.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
He's like what, like 80 now?
He's an old guy. Yeah.
So he's probably been hearing
Yeah.
it for so many
Yeah.
years. He probably just gets sick of it.
I don't want to sit here and act like I don't believe the moon landing at all. Like after doing research on this, trying to find as much conspiracy stuff as I could, it made me believe it even more that we went.
Where the real story lies, in my opinion, is that whole background of who we were getting to help us, like why we were going,
Well,
like who decided we were
Yeah.
going to go.
The whole thing to me
Like,
is time, and when we said we went, is it when we actually went? That's what comes down to me. I believe
What
that.
if they faked all that stuff, said they went like when they did or whatever? You know what I mean?
What
Like,
do you mean?
so your thing is like, you think they didn't go, or they went later on? You know
Yeah,
what
they
I
went
mean?
later on, yeah.
Yeah. What if they would have like released the stuff, like you're saying, released and then went? They release all that stuff saying they went, and then those guys like die going. You know, like actually going. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they're alive though. That's the thing.
that's I know, but I'm saying, what if that would have happened?
Oh yeah. No, I
then
get what
that
you
would
mean.
have
Oh,
really screwed
there-
them
yeah,
over.
they
You know
were.
what I mean?
Yeah. They already released the footage.
one of the
and then-
big accomplishments alone is to wrap your head around is how they shot it live on and got it back down to earth. You know, pretty much, and you're watching it on your black and white TV and fuzz and how to get that broadcast back, and then or even how to get stuff back, even the astronauts or film. Like through the radiation belts, like how you time that, and
I
guess
was-
it's technology back then, but that stuff's dangerous. That
I was
radiation.
looking at pictures and video, and it is quite like crazy to look at President Nixon talking to Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong on the moon back in 1969, being broadcast on TV. Like
It said like 550 million people were watching.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I think
Yeah.
it was one of the most watched things of all time. But this is 1969. We have someone on the moon talking to a president being broadcast on TV. Both of them.
with a video camera outside watching the first steps. Like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's a big conspiracy theory. I'm glad you brought that up because when I looked it up, you can literally, there's so many people who get really, really, really angry about people that say the moon landing is fake.
Oh yeah.
Like they will back this till
Right.
till the day they die. They
It's
might
such
never
an accomplishment.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
consider it the highest
yeah.
accomplishment.
And so there's websites dedicated to debunking conspiracy theories, and one of them is that there's a camera already on the moon when we got off. Well, that camera apparently was attached to the lunar rover, whatever, or the lunar whatever that touched down, so that when they did open the doors and got off, the camera was ready for them to get the first step on the moon.
Well, and get this, what everyone saw like on TV, they were actually just recording a monitor in like the control room. So that's why they say it was so grainy. So it's really tough to distinguish some things.
Yep.
Oh, and then guess what? They lost the original footage they taped over it.
Yeah, they taped. Yeah, it
wasn't important.
You know what I
They
heard?
didn't
They
mark
taped.
it.
They put like some other random movie, like The Wizard of Oz, over it. They taped
That could
over
just
it.
be a mistake, but that right there is a
remember
low.
reading about that,
That's what will get people buzzing.
Oh
about,
yeah, there's a
conspiracy
lot of
theories.
little things that I'm gonna show you that you're gonna be like, that is weird. Although you don't want to like disavow the whole theory. You're gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, why would they do that if it really happened, or why
Make
did
you
this
say,
happen? We're gonna look at a couple things. I could find like 3 things that really made me like, that is really weird. The first one, let's look at.
Countdown.
Yeah. Well, number 3 we're going to look at is the astronauts on... Actually, we'll look at the window one first. Okay, go to that one. Proof of the... It's the bottom video. No, bottom video. You're just down there. That video. Proof of moon landing. Watch this video here. So this pretty much shows the astronauts in the spaceship leaving Earth. And we'll just see if we can pick out what they're talking about here.
An old reel received by mistake. It contains the raw or unedited footage of the crew of Apollo 11 Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin Jr., and Neil Armstrong, staging part of their mission for nearly an hour in living color, with exceptionally clear behind-the-scenes audio of conversations discussing the techniques used to achieve a disingenuous picture depicting the Earth at a distance, in order to falsely demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. It cannot be misconstrued that this staging was done for some other reason, for the reel itself is slated
So they're
and
just practicing
dated
their shots,
July
is that what you're saying?
18th,
Like-
Just watch
19th,
this.
and 20th, 1969, the very days of the mission when they were said to be approaching and achieving lunar orbit. Furthermore, it is apparent they are in genuine zero gravity of the actual spacecraft, necessary to convince the mass media of their authenticity, just not any further than Earth orbit, as you will see. In this never-before-seen or heard footage, not only is the radio conversation between the astronauts and Houston Control audible, there is a secondary, private conversation taking place between the crew and a third confidential party, prompting the astronauts with what to say, when to speak, and how to effectively manipulate the camera to achieve the desired misleading effect. NASA claims that the Houston transmissions were the only ones taking place with the astronauts. Listen now as Houston Control initiates a conversation with the crew, only to find them too preoccupied with the behind-the-scenes trickery to respond. Moments pass and the oversight is picked up on by the clandestine third party, who quickly prompts them with talk. Immediately, Neil Armstrong speaks.
Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, Goldstone says that the TV looks great. Over. Okay, Roger. We're nothing in on Earth.
Again,
so that's not,
the
like,
illusion they are
Keep it playing. That's not that
So it's
crazy.
like cue him up like he's like talks. and
Yeah,
say something,
someone
like-
it did sound like someone said talk, but that could have been someone coughing or something. But here's where it gets
passing
weird.
through the Van Allen radiation belts. Understand, too, that only about 20 seconds of this raw footage was ever broadcast to the public, and these conversations discussing their deception were believed to be private. Until now. Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get the playback, we can sort of correlate what we're so much.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows, as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed. It is this. Though the federal government would have you believe that this is a view of Earth from a distance out of the spacecraft's window as it nears the moon, it is not. What they have ingeniously done is placed the camera at the back of the spacecraft and centered the lens on a circular window in the foreground, outside of which it is completely filled with the Earth in low orbit. The circumference of the window then appears to be the diameter of the Earth at a distance, with the darkened walls of the spacecraft appearing to be the blackness of space around it. That is why they wanted the interior dark and blocked out the sun from any other windows. Here you can see the extruded window, probably 2 inches thick at the bottom. This is because the Earth's shine is coming in at a downward angle. It also causes the Earth to appear to be an irregularly shaped circle, for you are seeing the outside of the window at the bottom and the inside of the window at the top, which together form 2 different sized halves.
See what they're doing there? They're making it look like
Look like
they're
there's not a glow because if you're on the moon, you wouldn't have the.
well.
the
They're making it look.
flare
Here
off.
they put something in front of it.
Shaped
Yeah.
piece of black material was inset slightly into the window to create the illusion of the Earth's terminator line,
How was this video
dividing
released
night and
recently
day.
or like?
This is old. Yeah.
It is uncannily convincing. During this segment, intended to be edited and played back later for the worldwide television audience, dated July 18, 1969. Neil Armstrong condemns himself as he states that he is 130,000 miles out, or halfway to the moon, as the NASA flight log also states on this date, when he is in reality in low Earth orbit of a few hundred miles.
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Calling in from about 130,000 miles out.
Here, during another segment, also intended to air after review, Neil Armstrong falsely explains to the viewers how the shot is attained by putting the camera's lens to the window's glass, as it would have to be if they were the claimed distance away from the Earth.
We only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with the TV camera.
So, like, why would they do that? Why would they fake it if they actually could do it in real life? Is what I'm wondering. And these
just going
videos
for the
are
camera.
hard to find.
Yeah.
This one and the other video that I'm going to show you is extremely difficult to find. Like, you can't, here you can see someone in front of it, so that proves that they're shooting through a window in the distance. For people listening, you can see like the Earth through the circle, but it's clear that they actually are really close to the Earth, and they're using the port window to make it look like
trying to
the
get a
Earth.
really good shot for either before they got there or just if they weren't going there.
Yeah, well, he said they're 130,000 miles out, but you can see that someone moving in front of the window, which wouldn't make any sense if he was pressed up against it. So,
Well, I mean, the thing, like it doesn't even look like perfectly circular either. Like, how do you
Yeah,
you'd expect
like
it
how
to
they're-
look if you like if you look at it like in the sky right now?
yeah, and you can see they have like the cabin light on. Like you can see up in the left-hand corner there, right there, you can see a light on in the spaceship, like right there. Doesn't make any sense.
That was number one.
Yeah, but I kind of want to break it down though. Like, why would we fake that if we could have the actual footage? Like, this is what makes me skeptical.
Right.
This
As
kind of stuff.
As like a director yourself, it's like
Yeah.
trying to get the best shot. Like,
Yep.
did you actually go there? You'd want to get authentic shot. You'd rather
Yeah,
have an
look at
authentic.
this. They're walking right in front of it.
You'd rather have an authentic shot than unless it was like for the whole. What word am I looking for? Grandiosity of it, like spectacle. Like if it was a big
Yeah.
spectacle, like you wanted to really show off and make sure you did it right.
Now they
Like,
turn
then
on the
actually they could
lights.
do it right. Little practice or something, yeah.
So
I remember you talking about that. That's
Yeah,
that's
This is
interesting.
the hard video to find, very difficult to find. Why? What do you think, Trent? Why would they do that if it was a real thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you're saying, like why would they
Why would they
stage this if they're like in space already?
If they were
like, why wouldn't they just go to the moon if they're?
They deleted the footage, didn't they?
This footage wasn't released on TV. This is like a reel that was accidentally sent to this guy or whoever that made this documentary. Why would they have to make it look like they're 130,000 miles away from the Earth when they could actually go 130,000 miles away from the Earth? That's my question.
Right.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. That's what makes people skeptical. Not too many people know about this, and every website you go on about moon landing conspiracies, they don't
This
have
is
this.
their-
They don't have this.
Oh.
They don't have anything about this video or the other videos that I have. The most typical ones are, why is the flag waving? Well, the Mythbusters prove that that's actually a real thing. The flag
Oh,
does
yeah.
wave.
Well, didn't like I was reading on that, and didn't it say like there's like metal like poles inside of it? Like they stick like poles that are connected to like the ground pole
Oh, really?
to like so it like stays like straight.
I didn't know
Because
that.
if you just have like a normal flag, it'll just like droop down. You won't be able to see it at all.
Huh. Okay. Well, maybe so. I thot that the Mythbusters did some kind of test or whatever, and they
They
proved that
might
it
have.
could.
I have no idea.
And then people say that how come what was the other ones? There's just a couple very basic ones, like how come there's no blast, like when the thing landed on the moon. How
Oh.
come there's no like crater, like rubble around it or whatever? But they showed that you can actually see like where the gases hit the Earth, like you can see the marks. Like they did like testing with a thermal camera or whatever. So like they prove all the basic theories wrong, but they don't prove like why would this happen. We'll look at the other video now, astronauts on strings. This is a weird one. Watch that one.
Astronauts on strings.
Astronauts on wires.
It's like puppets.
Like it looks like this guy's leg is getting lifted up behind him, like someone's pulling him up. Just watch this video. This was weird.
We should have brought popcorn.
Astronauts moving in slow motion is another hallmark of the Apollo TV footage. There is no evidence at all of any astronaut
Look at
making
the
a leap
computers.
or a jump anywhere near a height commensurate with 1/6 G possibilities. But if they were actually simulating EVAs on Earth, they would then need help with their bulky heavyweight suits and backpacks in order to achieve the visual effect of moving around easily in lunar gravity. So enter wire supports. This is a tried and tested way of relieving weight from performers or even flying an actor. Here is a sequence from one of our own productions.
Excuse me, will I need a car?
Yeah, it looks very close.
Yes.
Chris. We're only making a
Night
short
school.
trip to 1969, to the beginning of
They do bring up a video though that I don't know why they put this in there. This does not help their
It's like,
argument
that's
at
like
all.
Mary Poppins here in the bar.
This does not help their argument at all.
No, this is just
Yeah,
funny.
that was horrible.
Let's watch this for fun.
Of course,
Okay.
confirmation that wires were used is in the detail. Here in this Apollo 14 footage, you can see a ping, a momentary glint.
That's nothing crazy.
And
to me.
again,
There's weirder
run
stuff.
slowly.
I like the music.
Yeah.
like
And
the
run
It's like
slowly.
it's some groundbreaking or something.
You should slice in the big
There
foot
are
walking
other
in the
examples
back.
too. This one is from
Patterson
Apollo
one.
17
Okay, start
during the
watching
flag
these.
scene. You can see the ping at the top of the frame.
Is that supposed to be like the wire catching light or something? I don't know.
I think that's what they're saying.
In this footage from
Okay,
Apollo 16,
this is a weird
we
one, I'm
have
pretty sure.
telltale evidence of a slightly floating or dangling effect at the jump salute location. It's as if the weight is being taken off the astronaut's feet just
You
a
asked why we
second or
went to the
so
moon,
too
Trent,
soon.
to do this stuff.
Yeah, just
Compare
to
that
like mess
sequence with
around.
the
To jump and
non-obvious
dance.
rehearsal.
Get a
The
routine
dangling
down.
effect is very evident.
Here he's wearing a rehearsal rig suit.
And here again, from the same mission, Apollo 16, we have an astronaut who is about to get up.
Oh, watch this one. This is the weirdest
Oh,
one.
that'd be fall.
Here we go.
Watch his back
Let me
leg.
give you a hand, he says.
There goes Barry. There goes another Barry.
Look at him get yanked up.
Coming.
Look at it again. The astronaut is getting up with the wire taking the weight, relieving him of 5/6 of the Earth's gravity.
Kind of did a slid side
A
there.
magic trick? No. Just the help of a wireman. This is a slow motion jump that would have been seen live on TV. And here it is at normal speed. The well-rehearsed, pre-recorded material was apparently slowed down by 50% when we saw it on TV. And yes, we've done the necessary work to establish that percentage.
The
All right,
salute.
the big thing to me was when that guy was getting up.
Yeah.
That's the weird. I don't know about the pings or whatever they're talking about, like catching. But when the guy got up, it looks actually like he's getting pulled up on like a.
Do they have photos or video of them practicing those dance moves on Earth? Like, all right, now we're going to do the jump salute. And then
They
they're
did have the rehearsal rigs, like him dancing around, whatever. They had that.
What a foot.
This
funny.
this one's not as crazy to me as the window one, but I think it's still weird, that one video where it looks like he's getting yanked up by a string, like I don't know, or a wire, or whatever. It just looks weird. And my final one, I trying to remember.
This one, Buzz Aldrin.
No, it's the press conference. I forgot about that. Go up. Dun dun dun. Where is it? Down.
Are you sure it's not this?
No, that. Oh, maybe that is it. No, I don't think that is though. The Apollo 11. Oh yeah, it is. It is. Okay. Skip into this like 2 minutes maybe. This is the first press conference that the astronauts did after they got back. Look how
Turn it out.
unemotional and like unhappy they are when they talk.
Pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade. We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that interested us most.
I've seen happier people at a funeral. These guys don't look like they went to the moon.
Hey, if they're trying to fake it though, don't you think they would tell them to act more excited? You know what
I don't know.
mean?
These guys don't look like they went to the moon though.
number of
Maybe they're just
films
so
and
confident. They're like, yeah.
He must be
we
so
We
highly
mooned
on
it.
social.
We mooned it. We're here.
Yeah, like
Look at this
that's what we
guy.
were expecting.
What,
so.
yeah, what do you guys want?
and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot, which
When
may
you have
not-
detention on a Saturday.
He does. I mean, they look like they're just completely lying, or like they don't want it to be there, like they don't want to talk. You think for people that just went on the moon, the first men in the world, the history of this planet to go on the moon,
Let
you
it
think
flow.
they'd be like Tom Cruise on Oprah, like they'd be like
Is that couch jumping?
yeah, the
Ethan?
couch jumping, yeah, they'd be like
Oh,
enthusiastic.
did
you
you
know?
see? I don't want to change subjects, but we talk about deepfakes. Did you see Bill Hader talking? And then he does a Tom Cruise impersonation,
and they change
yeah,
to
and
him
they
every
changed
time.
It,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they did, I think
Yeah.
was it Rogan? Then,
Yeah, I
Seth
saw
Rogen.
that. It's getting
That's
crazy.
what's scary.
It's getting
Okay.
crazy. Yeah. What do you think about this though? Is it
I
just?
don't know. It's
Go home and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know
and
if
then
I'll
come
do
back
that.
and give us a
No,
report.
watch the whole thing.
It looked like it was an
Yeah.
hour and 23
It'd
minutes.
honestly be if Trent went on the moon. Trent would probably be like that.
I was
Yeah.
just saying, like, I mean,
I was on the moon. Here's a rock.
Hey,
Thanks.
are they all
Thanks for
like that
coming.
though?
Yeah, every one of them talks the same. Like,
But maybe
yeah.
they're not excited. I'm not. Maybe they're not excitable guys. Like,
maybe they were mad that they didn't get to go on the moon. Like, they were second in line to go on the moon, but
No, these are the guys.
Yeah, 'cause
Neil
there's
Armstrong,
Buzz.
Buzz
Oh, they are?
Aldrin. This
Oh,
is
okay.
Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, the first guys that went on the moon.
Is this,
Well,
like,
not
right after
Michael
they came
Collins, but-
back?
Yeah, this is the first press conference after they came back.
maybe they haven't had their nap yet.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, here is this the same guy talking here? I would just say maybe I don't know which one's Buzz
Yeah.
Aldrin, which one's Neil Armstrong. I think the bald guy's Buzz Aldrin. I don't know. I think that's Buzz Aldrin there in the way right. I have no idea. It's weird to me. It's just a strange video. Like it doesn't really add up to me. Like it doesn't. It just seems weird. So there's a couple of things that
Let's do it playing in the background.
yeah, leave it playing in the background. So
The video doesn't sway me either way because I know them.
it's one of the things
This
that
video.
makes me think like that's weird. It's just a weird thing. You know, it's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
it's not like I'm like, oh, the moon landing's fake, but it's like kind of like one of those things. Like, why are they seem like they do not
The
want?
things are racking up though. It's,
Yeah, I mean, the weirdest one to me is the window. Why would they literally lie to the people watching? Like, they're clearly lying. They were told to do that. Whatever. I don't know why.
And mine, and I'm not saying they did, and I'm not saying they didn't. I mean, they say they did, but mine's just the whole history of why we even went in the first place. Like just learning all that history and then following it up. You know, if that makes any sense. Like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
reasons why.
It was it was literally like a race, like who could be the first one there. Like it was like the biggest guy. Like it was a show off fest. Like who could be the first country there? You know,
It's like Fortnite dances.
Yeah, Fortnite dances. There you go.
mine's the astronaut trying to get up on the moon.
Yeah,
that wire thing. That's super weird because that's like supposed to be actual footage of them on the moon, and I don't know. That's just super weird.
Could be a coincidence. It's weird.
What if people find like the movie of Armageddon, like, and no one's here, and they're like, "Oh man, those guys landed on an asteroid."
People think Stanley Kubrick directed the moon landing. Have you heard that conspiracy theory before that? Because
Odyssey.
Stanley Kubrick did 2001: A Space Odyssey. That was in 1969
Right
or
then.
68, and there was a lot of very realistic. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. The whole movie is about space, obviously, and like he does a lot of very realistic, like moon gravity, like people jumping around that looks like the moon landing. Like if there was anyone that could do it back then, it would be Stanley Kubrick. That's why people think that he did it.
Well, I think too, it's important to look at like what happened like the years after, like, you know, in like 72 and 74, you had the Watergate scandal. Mm-hmm. So maybe like at the time, like when the moon landing first happened, people didn't think like it was a conspiracy, but then after like Watergate happened, people are like, okay, you know, our government's a little shady.
Yeah.
So,
Can we
Because
trust
if you could prove this, that we didn't go to the moon, that bangs the door, blows
Oh
up the
my.
door wide open for everyone to come in for conspiracies.
if anything ever were to come out proving that we never did go to the moon, I feel like Americans would be anti-government. Like most people would be
absolutely.
anti-government. Like, or I mean, it's the same thing as 9/11. Like if people were to find out 9/11 was an inside job, I feel like most people would be anti-American. Like, what the heck? Why would the government do this to us? Why would they lie?
You
That's
think
what's-
people would start leaving the country?
I don't think people would leave the country, but I think there'd be a huge change in government going forward. Like the political parties would probably disband. There'd be a lot of crazy stuff going down. I feel like if this was disproven, 9/11 was disproven.
And that's why conspiracy theories are so easy to follow, because you don't have to prove what happened. It's easier to try to disprove and come up with all these theories, and like you
Yep.
gotta dig deep into why people
Yep.
believe conspiracy theories, because they want to know control. They want to be able to control what they're doing, and they don't like when they don't have control, or
Exactly, yeah.
or they want to be more smart than smarter, if you want to put it that way, of other people. Like they know something you don't know.
Yep.
I'm gonna jump on that. Or
Yep.
you see a lot like reading books, and then they just start stringing like weird conspiracy theories
Weird together, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think that's a big one with the flat Earth people.
Oh,
They
for
want to
sure.
think that they
Yeah.
know something that other people don't.
Yep. That's a whole crazy conspiracy theory. What really got me to like go against like the anti-moon landing stuff was when I started looking at pictures of this. Go to the pictures, because I started looking at pictures and I'm like, gosh, this is just all too real. Go back to the Finder column.
Yeah.
Down there. It all, when you look at the pictures and you look at the people in the control room and everything, just start with 2 and go through all of them. When you start looking at it, it just makes you realize like this actually happened. Like it had to have happened. Like there's no way that all this stuff was
they're
fabricated.
definitely in space. And I wasn't there. I wasn't.
No, I wasn't
like,
alive.
I can't sit here and say like, well, the technology wasn't right, because we just think it's super old, because probably 30 years from now we'll sit here and we'll say this technology, there's no way we could have done it when we could have. Like, because the technology will be flying. And I also remember they said, so if this never happened, so many people they contracted working on this. I mean, it was so much work to even, down to weaving or knitting not knitting, but sewing space suits.
I mean, look at this. Like it blows my mind that if anyone could fake it this good. Like how,
especially back then.
Yeah, especially, I mean, we can argue about the technology or whatever, but then arguing about trying to recreate that, they brought back moon rocks. There's so much stuff. Like, look at these pictures. It just blows you away.
Here's how I would put it, and where I know it wouldn't sit on a fence. If Buzz Aldrin was in front of me here, sitting at this table, I would not say to him, "You did not land on the moon."
Oh no, I would never, because I'm 100% believe they did. I 100% believe we went to the moon.
This might be one of my favorite pictures.
It's amazing. I 100% believe we went to the moon. I just
one, because he knocked me out, but two,
because you get Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Doesn't this look like an album picture?
Like a what?
Album picture.
Oh yeah.
I really
What's
question
the
the
band?
time and the authenticity of the time and like the video is all I question,
Yeah.
But like looking at this stuff, it just, I mean, it's crazy. It blows me away. There's some really cool pictures coming up too.
This supposed to be an alien footprint or what?
That's his boot. Yeah, his boot print. Here, let's see which video or picture is this. Oh, okay, so it says here, men from the planet Earth first set foot on the moon, July 1969. We came in peace for all mankind. It's crazy. It's to put that much time into something that never happened.
When they kept going back, did they keep landing like pretty much in the same spot, or did they pick different spots to explore? I don't know.
See, I couldn't tell you that.
That'd be like an interesting question.
Here's the control room where they.
Did you watch War Games yet? That's what it looks like.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's a good question, Damon. Like when
do
they
you get the same spot, you see the flag again, or like.
Right.
So, like, do you think, like, moon landing deniers, like, you think they actually, like, went to space, but they just didn't go to the moon?
I think that's probably what they.
Oh,
they
for
probably,
sure. Yeah.
Like what Ethan was
yeah.
showing the video, they were up in space, and then they're like, they stayed up there, they shot those videos or had those videos, beamed them, and then people actually saw them fall back down into the ocean.
Yep.
And they just came, they weren't actually at the moon, but they.
How
shot
long
back
were they up there for? On the moon.
At least a week. I mean, it takes a week to get there almost.
I
doesn't
don't,
it?
and I wish I knew. I wish I knew the details about the moon stuff. I don't know like how long they were there or how long it takes.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
takes a
anything
while.
about
It
that.
takes
I
a
know
while
the
to get
biggest
there.
thing people argue with is like how they get through the van, the radiation belt.
Oh,
yeah.
Here's the picture side by side of Nixon talking to Armstrong on TV, on the phone. It's crazy to think technology was there back then. Like that's just a crazy.
That is wild.
In 1969, we had split screen talking from the moon to Earth. Here's another picture through the helmet.
I think that's what leads the biggest conspiracies is that just sounds bonkers.
That technology was back then. That's unbelievable. There's a picture shining through a helmet with the shadows. A big conspiracy is about the shadows, and people say there's multiple different directional shadows. Well, you have the lights from the spacecraft, the light from the sun, and there's also light bouncing off of different stuff. What are you doing?
What's that say?
Talk on. It's like his radio. Like touches it to.
Yeah. And there's a couple more pictures on here. Yeah, so there's a TV camera.
If you're
way back
listening, you're
there.
going to have to check this out because the pictures are pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, just really cool pictures
Like,
from the moon landing. So to kind of get
a lot
into
of megapixels.
Yeah, they are the crazy good pictures. To kind of get into before we move on to the next thing, final stances on the moon landing. What is your final call, Damon?
I'll go with what I said. If Buzz Aldrin was here or any of the astronauts are here, I wouldn't be comfortable telling them that they didn't go to the moon if they're saying that they did. So
yeah,
I
but
guess that's what I would
You believe
stand.
it, though. You believe it.
I want to believe it.
Yeah.
Want
you want to
believe
believe it, yeah.
I think anybody being a United States citizen wants to believe it,
Do you believe it, though, is the question.
I do.
You believe it? Trent, what is your final stance on it?
Okay, I'm a big proponent of like always questioning stuff. Like just don't take things you see at face value.
Yep.
Like look at the facts behind it and like make your own conclusion. But I mean, I really don't think you can say that the moon landing didn't happen, in my personal opinion.
And I've said my opinion multiple times so far already, but I think we went to the moon 100%. My only argument is why did we have to fake some of the video and photos, whatever, and when did we actually go? Did we go when we said we did? That's my only conspiracy theory that I
Just
believe.
our opinions, though.
Yeah, these are just our opinions.
We're obviously not experts.
I mean, yeah, who are we?
Yeah, and so that's my final stance on that.
Is that because Trent said he thought of spaceships and cheese?
I'm just for the record, I'm no expert. I don't work for NASA or nothing like that.
He's just a drug dealer and a
Exactly.
bartender.
Aspiring drug dealer.
Speaking of drugs, Jeffrey Epstein just committed suicide, which is nothing to be...
Allegedly.
Yeah, that's where the conspiracy theories start. I said this whole podcast was going to be conspiracy theories. For people that don't know, you know much about this. Do you know much about it?
Just from what I saw on the news.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein, hedge fund billionaire, just rich guy. People are still trying to figure out where he got all of his money from. One of the top guys above the guy that runs Victoria's Secret and all the companies underneath that. So he just owns a bunch of stocks and like he has a private island in the Virgin Islands. He's got a house in New York and Miami or somewhere down in Florida. And this guy, do you know much about this, Trent? Much about this story?
A little bit. I've read a little bit on it, but I'm
Yeah,
not completely
I
well-versed
listened
on
to a
it.
couple of news things about it on the way down here today, but pretty much this guy has been in trouble for a long time. Like he's been in and out of getting out of trouble. Like the first time was way back in like 2002 or
Got
something.
a light sentence or something.
He got a really light sentence for sexually. Like there was some sex trafficking going on, and he got a prostitution charge for one girl, even though there was multiple girls apparently involved. And what came out of it was he got like a county jail sentence for like 15 months or something, like 12 months. And so a lot of time went by, pretty much until Trump appointed the guy that pretty much let him go as one of the
like prosecuted the case or
one of the people that the
deal.
prosecuting attorney for the state of Florida or something. Trump appointed him as one of Trump's positions, and that's when people looked into this guy's past. They dug up everything about Jeffrey Epstein, and they found out that there's more to this. So the Miami Herald did an article in the newspaper, found out over 80 girls came forward, said that Jeffrey Epstein was sex trafficking us. He was pretty much running a giant sex trafficking operation. And they're all underage girls. All the girls are underage. And he would pay these girls to come over, give them a massage, and it'd usually end with sex, something happening sexually. And then he would pay them to bring their friends to him, and he'd pay their friends to get people. So it became a giant web of sex trafficking.
And did he had other people coming in with him? That's why he had a list or something?
The
or
big
contacts?
conspiracy,
Yeah, what's the conspiracy?
starts to come in when you look at who he was friends with. Him and Bill Clinton were super good friends. Bill Clinton flew on his private jet 26 times, the same jet that was used to transport these girls to his island. They call it the Pedo Island. It's a weird island. Bill Clinton flew with him 26 times. President Trump was friends with him. The United Kingdom, one of the higher up guys, the Duke of York or something, is really good friends with him. He's friends with all the billionaire hedge fund guys from Wall Street. He's friends with some very, very, very powerful people. So the conspiracy comes in when he gets busted in July. In July of this year, like last month, he got busted when all this stuff came forward about Trump hiring this guy that pretty much let him go. And so people started digging in. That's when they did the newspaper article. They found out that he was like the big sex trafficking guy for all these billionaires and stuff. And so he got sentenced to, or he didn't get sentenced yet, but he was in prison, and that's when he committed suicide. But people think they didn't want him to come out and reveal that he had information on who knows who, all these billionaire guys, so someone hired a hit on Jeffrey Epstein.
It's like, but is the conspiracy on like both sides? Because it sounds like it's coming from both sides. Like, if you think Republican and Democrats nowadays, it sounds like it would be from
this
either
is from
side.
Either side, yeah.
Oh, either side.
It's both sides think that.
But the other side did it?
Not that the other side did it. That there's people on both parties involved.
Oh.
So it's kind of one of
Across the aisle thing.
It's across the aisle. It's a conspiracy theory that is what do you call it? Bipartisan.
Yeah,
Bipartisan conspiracy theory.
One thing's for sure is that there probably is some.
He's got dirt.
Well, I was going to go the other route, that the prison, or I'm assuming he's at a federal prison.
He was in New York, yeah,
New York,
federal prison, yeah.
That their protocol was missed or something, if he had attempted
weren't
suicide before.
Weren't the guards not?
They weren't doing their job.
Well, he was on suicide watch.
6 days prior to committing suicide.
Right,
and
then he's taken off suicide watch.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get taken off suicide watch?
After being on it for 6 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something wrong with that.
Well, there was a couple things wrong. There was one guard that was on his 5th day of overtime that was in charge of watching him. And he was supposed to check up on him every half an hour. Wasn't happening. Wasn't checking up on him every half an hour. And the other thing that was weird about this whole thing is his cellmate, the guy that was in the cell with him, got moved out the evening of his suicide, apparently. Look at this guy, though.
Do you have a picture of
I have
him?
a picture of him because he killed 4 guys in New York. That's not, no.
His roommate?
No, that's Jeffrey Epstein right there, the pedo. He became a registered sex offender back in like 2005. Here's his cellmate. This is the guy. He was a former New York City police chief or police officer. He killed 4 guys. He's in the same prison. This is his cellmate.
Huh.
This guy could rip apart Jeffrey and probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And that guy, and here's a picture of his cell, Colin, that picture you had before. This is the cell that he was in. Shower has a timer to prevent flooding, 4-inch wide windows overlooking prison courtyard, fixed concrete stool and desk and bed platform, black and white television with limited programming. I can't read the top thing. I think they have multiple.
I wonder if there's a reason
doors.
for black and white. I mean, is that
I don't know.
a punishment,
That's
or
another conspiracy
is there
theory.
like a real reason?
I don't know. They can't watch color TV apparently.
So is there not like a camera in there at all? Like,
There
can they
is,
not-
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Actually,
do
I
they
shouldn't.
not have-
I shouldn't say that. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if there's a camera or not. I don't know.
I was like, yeah, because if there is a camera in there, you'd think there would be footage.
Did he hang himself or what?
They haven't released the autopsy yet of what happened.
Well, didn't the?
But they're saying he hung himself. Yeah, that's what's came forward.
I think I was looking at like the coroner, like also did like O.J. Simpson, or like not. Yeah, like the death of like whoever O.J. Simpson killed.
His wife.
Yeah, and then.
No, you're talking about his attorney is O.J. Simpson's attorney is what you're talking about.
No, like who's doing his autopsy?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of links to O.J. then because his attorney is
I
O.J.
thought it was
Simpson's
Joel
attorney.
Lacanne.
No, unfortunately not. If it was, it'd get done good.
His attorney is O.J. Simpson's attorney. That's how we got off so clean back in 2005 or whatever.
Yeah, but there's like also like other like conspiracy type stuff that his coroner is related to.
Really?
Too. Yeah, I can't remember what they are off the top of my head.
Really?
I know one is O.J. Simpson.
Well, I mean, what do you think just from hearing this basic stuff? I think 100% this guy's got dirt on worldwide leaders. People didn't want to know about it. They went out, or they pulled some strings, boom, bop, and he's committed suicide. Just like you saw happen when that was
Committed suicide or
no, not committed suicide. He was killed. I think he was 100% killed.
Murdered.
I don't think he committed suicide.
Flip side is he's the scum of the earth. He knew he had no way out, and he took that way out.
There's no way. He had so much dirt on all these people, 100% guaranteed that because I mean, Bill Clinton, Trump, like all these guys, like worldwide leaders. I haven't even talked about. Like I saw a website. There's a whole list of all these people he was really, really good friends with. There's no way they had no idea what was going on. They claim all of them, every single one of them.
Oh, sure, yeah. That's if it's related. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like it's.
And there's stuff that's came forward where the girls that came to the Miami Herald that told them about Epstein, they said that he paid them to go to. I think it was like George Mitchell or Bill Mitchell, who's a senator, and they paid. He was apparently paying to have these girls come to him. And
well, now the stories, just like how the goes, the stories will start coming out.
Oh yeah,
if it happened, and then people.
Here's the thing, though: the guy that knows everything is gone. So what are we?
Well, if there's still girls out there,
Yeah,
that,
there's girls, but
well,
I mean,
now,
they
you know,
don't
come forward and
Yeah,
all
say
speak up
that-
at the same time.
say that. Well, and who knows, for
they-
a horrible guy like this, he could be involved in killing people too
Yeah.
after he's done with them. I mean, he had a private island out in the Virgin Islands. He very well could have
Shows
killed
you that
people.
corruption money.
Yeah, and
Like-
it's just a weird. There's a lot of weird.
So they can't try him anymore because he's
No,
dead.
no.
But what are they going to do with the stuff then? Is the government going to get it?
So here's the thing. He was charged with a bunch of stuff. One of them was conspiracy. So you know what that means.
The government could get it.
Co-conspirators. There's other people involved. So that means they're going to find these other guys that were using these girls that he was providing. They're going to find them. They're going to find them eventually. If he's charged with conspiracy, 100% there's co-conspirators.
Yeah.
He is one of many that was using underage girls as sex
He got
trafficking.
15 months the first time around.
Yeah,
and
first
now
time
it's just
around.
coming out again.
Now it's just coming
was
out.
like- he was free for
He was
quite a
free.
while?
He was free. Have you ever heard of
Hey,
this?
so it all got brought up because Trump.
Because Trump appointed this guy to be one of his higher up
He's since
positions.
stepped down, right? Or got
Who?
The guy stepped down from
The guy
who was appointed.
No, the guy's still the guy.
he's still-
the guy. Yeah,
he's still appointed in
Because
this.
apparently, it wasn't just his fault. It was the Florida prosecuting attorney, the people that work for the state, that messed this whole thing up. And there's a whole background story to like the initial trial and then what happened now. Have you ever heard of this guy until recently?
No,
Never
not
heard
at
of
all.
him. Never heard of him ever. But apparently back in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, in that area, he was all the talk. Like everyone was talking about it. Then he got off. Everyone forgot about it. And it hasn't came up till 2019.
Well, that one guy, like, what's his position that Trump appointed? Was it the attorney general or something like that?
I can't remember. I can look it
I
up.
think
too,
his
but
last name was Barr or something.
I think you might
That'd
be
be
right.
the main. I don't know if that's the main guy that they just.
Let me. Okay, so I'm gonna look up.
Anyways, I think what'll be, if interesting is the right term, but we'll have to see what comes out here now. Like with
Right.
people, if people
Well,
will
it's
come forward.
been-
But Ethan brought up a good point. Like maybe they won't come out if like they're intimidated or
Right.
money or have gotten bought off because we see how hush money works. And you,
How long has it been now? Quite a few days, hasn't
yeah,
it?
it has been quite a few days now.
I'm just trying to-
give money to keep people quiet and.
So Epstein was arrested for allegedly sex trafficking underage girls in New York and Florida between 2002 and 2005. That's the thing. They say it was only between those 3 years. Is someone that messed up going to only do it for 3 years?
Right. Yeah, it has to be like
it's
a whole
a whole
planned out
lifetime.
thing.
A whole
Yeah,
lifetime.
exactly.
In the early 2000s, Epstein was suspected of similar crimes in Florida. While federal prosecutors prepared a 53-page federal indictment against him, he ended up striking a plea deal in 2008 and only pled guilty to 2 prostitution charges. Then, U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta was instrumental in the deal.
Oh,
and in
Acosta.
February of 2017, Trump nominated Acosta to the U.S. Secretary of Labor. He was ultimately confirmed to the position. That's what brought this whole thing back forward. People started looking into him.
Follow the money.
Found this.
Follow the money trails.
Miami Herald described the deal, which was then sealed to be considered one of the most lenient sentences for a serial sex offender in the history of this planet. In February, a federal judge in Palm Beach ruled that federal prosecutors, included Acosta, broke the law when they signed the plea deal with Epstein, since the deal was kept from his alleged victims. So they never told the alleged girls about any of this. So I don't know. Like you said, Damon, going to be weird to see what happens in the future when
We'll
people
see.
come
We'll
forward,
have to
girls come
see.
forward. Yeah. Still. I just choked.
It's melting. Drink your water. It's melting.
It's the frozen water. I think we're getting there. Still frozen, but
Yeah, no. So I'm looking at here that the coroner also did, like, I guess he's not like a coroner, he's a forensic pathologist. I don't know what the difference is, but he also oversaw JFK after
Really?
he died.
The big conspiracy about that.
exactly,
Yeah. Weird. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like we can bring this up in a future podcast when we have more information. We can really
Yeah.
dive into it. Just kind of something else to talk about.
Conspiracies.
Conspiracies.
Gotta love 'em.
That's
Sexy.
Conspiracies are sexy. That summarized everything we talked about tonight.
Was that like the third or fourth episode?
Yeah, that was on the third, or I don't remember. It was on one of them. Trent Lacanne, thank you very much for coming out
That's
tonight.
it. We're done.
Thank you for
Great
having
to
me.
have you.
Big fan of the podcast.
Oh, well, thank you. Maybe you should start watching it.
Yeah.
I'll get on it
I'm kidding, I'm
someday,
kidding, I'm
one of
kidding,
these
I'm
days.
kidding. It has been a great episode here talking to Trent and Colin and Damon. If you enjoyed the episode, please give us a share, comment, like, retweet.
Did we have to give anything
subscribe.
away, or is
Oh,
that-
yeah. The winner of the Wilder Demon t-shirt, Cheyenne,
the t-shirt.
Cheyenne Elton. You were the winner. So come claim that, and we will ship that to you. Not sure where you're from, but you won it. So
Better find out if you're going to ship it.
Yeah. Everyone else who wants to win a free shirt, free hat, free whatever, just share the podcast, retweet the podcast, like the podcast. Damon? Do anything to get the podcast out there.
Podcast. Good or bad.
Anything
but
out there,
good.
mostly good.
Get one of these dope shirts.
Get one of the shirts out
Go to the
there.
site.
twinstore.com. I know Trent Lacanne's going to go buy one soon here.
Yeah.
Right after this.
Yeah, start
First thing I'm going to do.
Johnny, you have to buy one.
Merch link in bio.
Merch link in bio. We will be back next week. The big 50th episode of the podcast. It's crazy to think we're already at 50. Not sure what we're going to be doing, but I'm sure it'll be something
fun.
wild.
We're going to need a cake.
Wild. It'll be wild.
We're going to need a cake. It'll be wild. Wild or Demon. So thanks, everyone,
Stay safe, everyone,
for tuning in. Make sure you stay off other people's property. We'll be back next week. This is the Clerc Podcast Show.